Alright, hello and welcome to another Mr. Pisto Plays Magic the Gathering Arena Brawl video. We are talking about the streets of New Capenna and the new commanders that are going to be in the set. I'm counting down my top 5 commanders for the standard Brawl format. They might not be the best, but I think they're going to be the most fun. So let's get right into it. With number 5, we have Queza, Augur of Agonies, a 4-mana 3/4 Cephalid advisor that has whenever you draw a card, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. It's great to have a whole bunch of multicolor commanders in both common, uncommon, and rare. Uncommon, rare, and mythic rare, I should say. There aren't any common ones. Queza, the Augur of Agonies, is one of those that I think is going to be lots of fun. We're going to be playing it with lots of cards that draw cards and make you lose life. So stuff like the new Cut of the Prophets, the new Demon's Due, and an older one, Blood Pact. These all draw you cards and make you lose life. So you're going to trigger Queza, Augur of Agonies, which is going to make your opponent lose a life, but you're going to gain 1 life for each one of those cards that you draw. So the life loss for these is kind of null and void unless you go below 0 before Queza's ability goes on the stack. And that's something you want to be mindful of, that you don't put one of these cards that makes you draw cards and lose life before Queza triggers, because you're going to lose that life and then die before you get the life gain triggers. A couple other ways that we can draw cards. We can draw cards with something like this new Tainted Indulgence, being able to draw 2 cards and then we might have to discard a card, but maybe you're playing some kind of reanimator thing in here because white and black are the 2 best colors for reanimating. But you may also not have to discard because you might have a bunch of mana value cards in your graveyard if you build your deck in the way that supports something like this. We have the mythic rare legendary in the blue, white, black color scheme with Raffine Scheming Seer. This makes it so that when you are attacking, your creatures use the new keyword combine, which means you draw X cards and discard X cards. So if you combine X, Rex is the number of attacking creatures. So if you have 3 creatures, you draw 3 cards, and then you have to discard 3 cards. But if you discard non-land cards, you get to put 1/1 counters on your creatures. And another creature that makes it so that attacking is a good thing is Urabrask, the Illithid Scholar. So being able to draw cards when 1 or more creatures deal combat damage to a player, so you're drawing extra cards. And if you want to redo Enter the Battlefield effects, because it's Urabrask's ability, you get to pick them up if they get blocked. So it's a very, very powerful thing. And this is my 5th favorite commander from the new Streets of Capenna set, Queza, Augur of Agonies. All right, on to number 4. My 4th favorite commander from the new Capenna set is Urabrask, Heretic Praetor. Mono red is probably one of my favorite color schemes or colors to play when I'm playing a single color. And a 5-mana 4/4 haste that draws you an extra card at the beginning of your upkeep, and then also makes it so your opponents don't actually physically draw cards. Whenever they would draw a card, they exile 1, so they have to use it. It's a very actual powerful card against the commander that we just did at the number 5 spot. So some cards that caught my eye for Urabrask are, I'm thinking it's going to be more of a mono red kind of control style idea. So Torch Breath, one of the new ones that costs 2 less if it targets a specific color. This one is targeting blue. It can't be countered, which is very powerful in like a mono red kind of control-y style deck. Deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker at instant speed, is quite powerful. Then we have Jaxis the Troublemaker, another mono red legendary creature from this format. This would be if you're going more on the aggressive side of things. It has some very cool and powerful effects. Gold Hound Being able to ramp in red on 1 mana or pseudo ramp in red on 1 mana is quite powerful. Also having first strike and menace is also a very powerful ability. So this actually pairs very well with that the artifact from the previous set that when the creature dies it gains those abilities. This has first strike and menace, which could put them on right away and they could activate it itself because you get to add mana. So you could cast Urabrask on 4 if you have the Gold Hound out. Then some older cards with Rabbit Battery, giving other things haste in red is quite powerful. A Braid, another older card, just very versatile and flexible. And then Atushi, the Blazing Sky, either drawing you cards in a similar fashion to Urabrask, or creating treasure tokens so that you can ramp things out faster. So that's number 4, Urabrask, Heretic, Praetor. It's a really fun card that I'm going to have a lot of fun with. Number 3 is Mr. Orfeo the Boulder. I just like the fact that they had Mr. in the name. I think it's pretty cool. It could have just been Orfeo the Boulder, but no, it's Mr. Orfeo to you. So as a 4 mana 2/4, whenever you attack, double target creature's power until the end of turn. So we're looking for big power, not necessarily toughness, but it attacks as a 4/4 if you have it by itself. Some fun, interesting cards that we could play with it. Something like the Shakedown heavy 3 mana 6/4. It has menace, and when it attacks, they can take it out of combat and untap it. So then it's a blocker for you on the other end. But it also attacks as a 12/4, which is very powerful. And if they do remove it, you get to draw a card, which is very good. Then we have the Extract the Truth, a new way for black to deal with enchantments if we need to. Target opponent sacrifices an enchantment. I know we're playing green, but I wanted to have the opportunity to show off this card because I think it's going to be a mainstay for specifically mono black. And then target opponent reveals their hand. You may choose a creature or enchantment or planeswalker card from it. That player discards that card. So it has some flexibility, and it's just a great way for black to deal with enchantments. We have green here, so we're not going to have to worry about it too much, but it's there. Obnixilus, the Adversary, just a really cool card. Not only could it be in this very much in a 60, but it could very much be your commander, and it does a whole bunch of things. So definitely a card to look out for when you're playing against these colors. We have a whole new charm cycle, and I wanted to bring this one up here just to show it off and show that all the 3 colors, all the triomes or triads or whatever you want to call them, got a new charm. This one makes it so your opponent sacrifices a creature or a planeswalker. You can exile the top 3 cards of your library, so you get the pseudo draw, or you can deal with an opponent's graveyard. So they're very flexible. The charms are quite powerful. Jund also got another really cool removal spell that deals 7 damage to target creature or player's planeswalker. Destroy target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls with a mana value less than or equal to the number of excess damage. So this could be a 2-for-1. You could destroy a creature with 4 toughness and an artifact that has converted mana cost 3. So it can it can work double duty, which is quite powerful. And the last card I wanted to show off was the Workshop War Chief. This attacks as the 10/3. Gains you life when it enters the battlefield. It does have trample, so that doubling power is quite strong. Gives you a 4/4 when it leaves the battlefield, and if you want to, you can use a new Blitz mechanic, which was on one of the reds, the legendary creature that we talked about for number 4, but I didn't really talk about it. So being cast with haste, and then when it dies, you have to sacrifice it at the end of beginning of your next end step. You get to draw a card. So you get a 4/4, you gain 3 life, you draw a card for 6 mana. Pretty strong. That was number 3. My second favorite commander from the set is Jetmir, Nexus of Revels. This card has got a lot of hype when it was first released. A 4 mana 5/4 that just keeps the gift that keeps on giving as you gain more creatures. This is going to be a really fun token style of commander. So when you have 3 or more creatures, they get +1/+0 and vigilance. This counts as one of those creatures. So You really only need 2 other creatures to make them bigger. Get them trample if you have 6 or more creatures, so that's 5 and you include this. And then if you have 9 or more creatures, I believe that includes this, then they gain double strike as well. So it's just a very powerful go wide, hope you don't get board wipe synergy. And some cards that I thought would work well, and this is that new Halo Fountain. So you can untap creature to get a 1/1, untap 2 creatures to draw a card, untap 15 creatures with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 white mana and win the game. I doubt you're gonna win the game with that, but you never know. Could be a fun alternate win condition. The new charm for the Naya colors, being able to deal damage equal to the number of creatures you control to another creature or planeswalker. Your creatures get +1/+1 and trample, or you can create 2 more creatures to go towards Jetmir's abilities. We have Ginny Faye Jetmir's second. This was originally in this spot because I thought it would give you both a 2/2 and a 3/1, but you get to choose one or the other. So I wasn't, it didn't hit the spot as I thought it did. So I swapped them. And I think it's still good in this deck because there's a lot of ways to create treasure tokens, which can turn into creatures if you need them in the late game. Early game, the treasures can stay treasures. You can turn 1/1s into 2/2s or 3/1s depending on what you need. So I think it is powerful, but I don't think it is quite as powerful as I originally thought. From older cards, we have Adelaide Resplendent Cathar, making a creature every time you attack. A Wedding Announcement gives you 3/1/1s over the turns, or it gets you to draw cards because these colors don't draw cards in the best ways. And then it becomes an Anthem, which gives all your creatures +1/+1, which is quite powerful. And then finally, I think this has been all over the internet and I really want to try it. Niganjo's Uprising. You make X/2/2 white samurai creature tokens. They gain vigilance, menace, and haste until the end of turn. Your opponent gains that many -1. And because they have vigilance, and because you're giving them trample, and because you're giving them hopefully double strike if you can make enough of them with Jetmir on the battlefield, I think this could be an interesting dynamic because the double strike plus trample is very powerful, and the menace makes it so that they have to block and be blocked by 2 creatures. So maybe you can set yourself up in such a way that you trigger Jetmir on the 9+ creatures and you just swing in and it's probably game over. It might be a win more card, but I think it's going to be a fun little combination. And my number 1 favorite commander that I'm going to have an absolute blast with is Vivien on the Hunt. I was a huge fan of Birthing Pod. It was the deck that I built and saved up for and built, and then 2 months later, after I completely finished it, it got banned. This was a long time ago, so those of you who are newer to the game might not recognize Birthing Pod, but Birthing Pod has been one of my favorite cards to play in any format that I can. And the +2 ability of Vivien on the Hunt is what this card does. You may sacrifice a creature. If you do, search your library for a creature card with mana value equal to 1 plus the sacrificed creature's mana value. Put it on the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Its other +1, you can mill 5 cards and put any number of creature cards milled this way into your hand, so you're drawing some cards. And you can also create a 4/4 Rhino Warrior creature token, so you can start the chain on your next turn. This is going to be a very creature heavy deck. We want cards that have good enter the battlefield abilities. Topiary Stomper is one of those. You get a basic land, which helps you ramp into Vivien on 3. You may not be able to attack or block, but if this is already out and you still can't attack or block, well then you just sacrifice it and get a 4-drop. I didn't collect the 4-drop yet, but Workshop War Chief, we went over this when we looked at our Jund commander. It's also a great card in this deck. It comes into play. You can sacrifice it to go find a 6-drop. It leaves you behind something to start the chain again if you want to. Gains you life. It is just a great card. Another new card that came up is the Cleanup Crew. It's a 6-mana 6/6. You get to destroy an artifact and an enchantment. You can deal with the graveyard, or you can gain 4 life, so wherever you are at on the chain. Or if you're in a pinch, this can help deal with a pesky permanent or a graveyard. And you could sacrifice this into Titan of Industry. When it enters the battlefield, choose 2, destroy target artifact or enchantment. So if you needed to deal with another one of those, you can gain some more life, make some more creature or another creature to start the chain over again. And you can put a shield counter on a creature you control. So you can bring in this as a 7 mana, 7/7 pseudo indestructible and destroy an artifact. Gain 5 life, make another blocker. So many things. A good 2-drop, Capenna Wrecker. You can bounce one of your good into the battlefield creatures if it gets through because of the ninjutsu. Exile an enchantment. Now it's just a 3/1 that really does nothing, so you can sacrifice the 3 mana creature to maybe go into that Torpiary Stomper to get your next land drop to ramp you into something bigger. And from there, I think Cura the Boundless Sky can find a really nice home in a deck like this, because when it doesn't have an ETB but does have a die trigger, and that die trigger can either help you start your chain over again, going from 0 to 1, 1 to 2. So you're gonna have to play around and build your deck very strategically, and this can also gain you lands to make it so that you can maybe cast your Titan of Industry without having to actually take it away. So that is my number 1 most favorite card, most favorite commander from this set. So we have number 5, Queza, Augur, Agonies. Number 4, Urabrask, Heretic, Praetor. Number 3, Mr. Orfeo, the Boulder. Number 2, Jetmir, Nexus of Revels. And my number 1 favorite commander from the set, Vivien on the Hunt. So thank you for watching this top 5 commanders from Brawl for the streets of New Capenna. Like, subscribe, notify. Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night, wherever you are in the world. From Mr. Pisto to you. Take care, stay safe. Bye for now.